Alright, scholars, today's video is going to be about subtract mixed numbers. Okay, just as a reminder of yesterday, a mixed number is when you have a whole number part and a fraction part. So if you will please turn to page 25, write your date over here, and your title is Subtracting Mixed Numbers. The first step you're going to follow, okay? Subtract the fraction parts first. You may have to borrow from your whole number and rename the whole you use into a fraction with a common denominator. If your denominators are not the same, you will need to follow the steps on page 22 to have common denominators. Okay? All those steps that we did last week when we were just adding and subtracting fractions have not gone away. Okay? We're going to practice with adding mixed numbers with common denominators, and then we're going to practice with subtracting with common denominators. Then we're going to change it to where they are not common, so you have to do all those steps. The second step is to subtract your whole number parts. Simplify your fraction part if necessary. Don't leave any improper fractions. So get all of those steps copied down, and we're going to do some examples at the bottom. Alright, we're going to look at 9 and 5/6 minus 4 and 1/6. So we're going to check we have common denominators here. Okay? So we're going to subtract our fraction part first. That was our first step, if you remember, back up here where you wrote it. Back up here at step 1. Subtract the fraction parts first. So if we look, this will be an easy one because 6 and 6 on the denominator, our denominators are already common. So all we have to do is subtract our numerators. 5 minus 1 equals 4. Our denominator stays the same because we already have a common denominator. So subtracting our fractional part here gave us 4/6. So now back to step 2. It said that we are going to subtract the whole number parts. So our whole number part here is just 9 minus 4, and that equals 5. So our new mixed number, our final answer, not final, excuse me, our answer is 5 and 4/6. It is not our final answer because this can be simplified. Hey, remember if you don't already realize that both of those are even numbers, and an even number is always going to have 2 as a common factor. Hey? Since 2 is a common factor, we can divide the numerator by 2 and the denominator by 2. 4 divided by 2 gives you 2. 6 divided by 2 gives you 3. So we can simplify that fraction to 2/3 so that our final answer is 5 and 2/3. Hey, now we're going to do our second one over here. We're going to do 2 and 5/12 minus 1 and 11/12. So remember, all the way back up here, step 1 is to subtract the fractional parts. So we're going to do our fractional parts first. Our denominators are the same, so we don't have to worry about changing that. But now we have to subtract our numerators. We've got 5 minus 11. We can't do that. Okay? So what we have to do instead, up here in our instructions, in our steps, it says you may have to borrow from your whole number and rename the whole you use into a fraction with a common denominator. Okay? So what we're going to have to do is come over here and borrow from our whole number. Okay? So if we borrow 1 whole from 2, that's going to leave a 1. Now we've got to change that 1 whole that we borrowed. We can't just bring it over here and say, oh, now we're going to do 6/12. Okay? That 1 whole, remember, can be broken into as many equal parts as we need. And since our denominator is already 12, we can break it into 12/12. Now that gives us 12/12 along with the 5/12 we already have. So we want to be sure we add that in. Okay, so we're going to change it so that 5/12 and the 12/12 that we carried over add up to 17/12. Now we can take that 17/12 and again, since our denominators are common, we don't have to worry about them. But now we can come down here and subtract 17 minus 11. 17/12 minus 11/12 gives us 6/12. When we come over here, we had for our second step was to subtract the whole number parts, then simplify any fractions. So now we do our whole numbers. We've got 1 minus 1, which gives us 0. So we have no wholes that are left. But we can simplify this. Okay, you can write out your factors for 6 and for 12. See which one is the greatest common factor. So on this one, we have a lot that are the same. But if you choose the largest one, that'll simplify your fraction the quickest. So now we could take 6/12. Our common factor is 6. We can divide the numerator. 6 divided by 6 gives us 1. 12 divided by 6 gives us 2. So we can simplify 6/12 into 1/2 for our final answer. So there's all your notes that you need down on page 25. We're going to do some more examples in class and talk about what's going to happen if we don't have common denominators. So be sure you have all of that copied, and we'll start on it tomorrow.